If you've reached this video today, August 21st, I want you to take a deep breath before continuing, because your presence here is no accident. It's not the algorithm. It's not a coincidence. Over the last 3 days, something inside you has changed temperature. A silent restlessness you can't quite name. A thought that returns at the same time every day as if demanding an answer. A strange sleep, denser, more fragmented, as if your body were recalibrating something while you dream. And a sensation that is difficult to describe, almost physical, that an invisible threshold is approaching and you have nowhere to run. This isn't stress. It's not exhaustion. It's not just a bad day. This is the field opening. And today, exactly today, the moon passes so close to Antares, the red star that is the heart of the constellation Scorpio, that in some regions of the far south of the planet, it disappears completely behind the lunar disk. The red heart of the Scorpion extinguished for a few hours, and when a star of this magnitude is occulted, what is extinguished is not the light. What is extinguished is an old version of who you were. Antares is one of the 4 royal stars of ancient tradition, a sentinel, a landmark. It pulses red in the sky with the same tone as fire, blood, and urgency. The Babylonians, the Egyptians, the Persians, they all observed it as a beacon for the turning of a cycle. And when Antares is swallowed by the moon, that beacon momentarily falls silent. It is in this silence, in this symbolic blackout, that the next instruction arrives. Not as a voice, as a certainty. You will recognize this certainty because it comes without drama, without euphoria, without noise. It comes as one who knows, and that is exactly where your new era begins. And that is why there are 5 signs that will feel this passage with an absolute, almost invasive intensity. In the coming hours, you will understand exactly why, what needs to be destroyed in each of them, and, most importantly, what the next concrete step is that separates those who will cross this window consciously from those who will miss it, thinking it was just a strange week. Stay until the end, because what comes next will reorganize things you've been postponing for months. First of all, we need to kill a romantic idea. A portal is not an astronomical event. A portal is the exact point where the cost of remaining stuck in the life you are living becomes greater than the terror of taking the next step. You take the step, and the ground appears. Never before, never after. The occultation of Antares is not going to send down an angel to fix your life. It is going to do something much more brutal and much more liberating. It will symbolically shroud what was too visible in your life, what you used as an identity, as a crutch, as an excuse, and it will force you to look at what was underneath the whole time. Because every revelation begins with an occultation. Every new phase needs the previous phase to disappear first. And that is exactly what happens when the moon swallows Antares. The sky is teaching you, with a symbol you can see with your own eyes, that there is something inside you that needs to vanish before the next version can be born. It is not death in the literal sense. It is the death of identity, the death of a pattern, the death of an emotional bond that no longer sustains you, but that you maintain because losing it seems worse than continuing to carry it. Now pay attention to this next point, because it is the filter. The absolute majority of people will feel the same energy you are feeling today. They will wake up tomorrow, they will feel a tightness in their chest, they will feel a heavy head, they will feel a strange urge to change everything, and they will explain it away as work stress, as PMS, as a lack of caffeine, as a poorly slept night. They will swallow a cosmic signal with cheap rationalization, and the window will close on them without them noticing. They will miss the portal and still complain that life doesn't change. You do not belong to that group. You have enough internal infrastructure to recognize that an astronomical passage of this magnitude is not sky decoration. You arrived here because a part of you already knows that what is happening today needs to be used, not ignored. And out of the 12 signs, there are 5 that are energetically positioned exactly on the power line of this occultation. Not because I chose them randomly, but because the astronomical and symbolic logic of Antares points specifically to them. Signs linked to Scorpio by the star's traditional rulership, fire signs by the martial resonance of Antares' red color, and the lunar sign par excellence, which feels any movement of the moon as if it were inside their own body. And this is where I need to be very direct with you, Recognizing the portal is the easy part. Crossing the portal is where 90% of people fail, because crossing requires structure, requires method, requires a sequence of decisions and exercises that transform this awareness into physical movement within your real life. That is exactly why I prepared the Magia M28 Exercicios, the 28 Chaves do Despertar, for you. It is a 28-day journey, a complete lunar cycle, made for people who feel lost, different, overwhelmed, and who need to transform this restlessness into language, shadow into clarity, signals into decision, and awareness into practical direction. It is not a theoretical course, it is the concrete bridge between what you are feeling now and the life this window is trying to open for you. The link with all the information and the special launch price is in the first pinned comment right below. Go there now, take a look, and then come back to continue with me. And if you already feel that you need this, leave the word atravesso in the comments. This word is your energetic commitment to the passage. Without it, the portal recognizes you as a spectator. With it, the portal recognizes you as a participant. Now let's start with the signs. And the first of them is the most obvious, the most central, the one at the epicenter of this occultation, Scorpio. Antares is the heart of Scorpio, literally. It is the alpha star of the constellation, the brightest, the one that represents the very pulse of the sign in the sky. When the moon shrouds Antares, what is being symbolically occulted is the old heart of Scorpio. And if you're a Scorpio, or have your moon ascendant or Mars in Scorpio, you have already been feeling this for at least a week, as a strange tightness, as if something inside you were asking to be buried once and for all. Scorpio, pay attention. There is an identity inside you that needs to die in the coming hours, and you know which one it is. It's that exaggerated control over what others think of you. It's that resentment you swear you've already overcome, but that still weighs you down every time that person's name comes up. It's that emotional bond you keep functioning out of habit, out of fear of the void, out of not knowing who you would be without it. It's that version of you that survived something many years ago and continues to behave as if the danger was still in the room, even though it left a long time ago. The occultation of Antares is telling you, with all the symbolic brutality of a star being extinguished from the sky, that this version needs to go. Not tomorrow, not after the next cycle. Now. Because as long as it occupies the throne of your heart, the next version has no room to be born. And Scorpio, more than any other sign, understands rebirth. You have died symbolically many times. This will be one more. But this time, with consciousness. Write down on a piece of paper today before you sleep the name of the thing, the person or the pattern that needs to be shrouded so that the next phase can appear. And burn it, tear it, throw it away. The physical gesture is what seals the energetic decision. The second sign is Sagittarius. And here the connection is even more precise than it seems. Antares, in the tropical zodiac, falls exactly in the range that borders the sign of Sagittarius. It is a star of transition, a beacon on the border between Scorpionic intensity and Sagittarian expansion. And when it is shrouded, what is illuminated on the other side is precisely the route that Sagittarius has been postponing. Sagittarius, if you've reached this far, it's because there is a border in your life that you've been looking at for months, maybe years, without the courage to cross. It could be a geographical change, a new city, a new country, a new continent. It could be a career change that you postpone because it seems too bold, too risky, too late. It could be a spiritual decision, a path of study, a practice, a training, a master, a method. It could be a person. It could be a relationship that needs to start or one that needs to end so that the next door can open. Whatever it is, Sagittarius, you've known for a long time, and the only thing separating you from crossing that border is the illusion that there is still time to think a little more. There isn't. The occultation of Antares is telling you that the era of imagining has ended. The new era begins when you make a concrete decision, with a date, with a practical step, with physical movement. It is not reflection. It is not an inner journey. It is a passage. You need to buy the ticket, sign up for the course, send the message, sign the contract, say the yes or say the no. As long as it is a mental verb, you are on this side of the border. And the border, Sagittarius, is the portal. And the portal closes. Here I need to interrupt for 30 seconds, because this is the exact time when Sagittarius and all the other signs listening to me need a structure so as not to miss this window. Reading about a portal is easy. Crossing the portal requires method. The Magia M28 Exercicios was designed exactly for this, 28 keys, one per day, to transform every signal you are receiving now into a concrete decision, with practical exercise, with ritual, with physical movement. The link is in the first pinned comment. Go there now. Because the window of this passage has a closing time, and arriving tomorrow with the same doubt as today is signing your stay in the place you no longer want to be. The third sign is Aries, and if you are an Arian, have an Aries ascendant or a strong Mars in your chart, your body has been asking for movement for days, a restlessness that won't go away, an urge to slam the table and finally resolve something that's been hanging, an impatience that seems like irritation but is actually a sign that your vital energy is ready to be spent on a decision, and you keep spending it on anxiety. This will cost you dearly if you don't redirect it today. Antares has had for millennia a martial association. The red color, the glow of fire, the proximity to Mars in the sky, all of this connects Antares with the archetype of the warrior, of action, of the decision that cuts. And Aries is the cardinal fire sign, the sign of the beginning, the first impulse of the zodiac. When Antares is shrouded by the moon, what Aries receives is a silent order. Stop waiting for more signs. There are things you have been preparing in silence for weeks, maybe months. A project, a request, a difficult conversation, a decision involving money, involving the body, involving courage. You are waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is a trap. Aries, the perfect moment is the pretty name your paralysis uses so as not to be recognized as paralysis. You don't need more signals. You've received all the signals you needed to receive. Antares disappearing is the last one. After this, the sky falls silent and passes the ball to you. Your transformation in this new era will not happen because you understood something else. It will happen because you chose a specific action, with a name, with a date, with a time, and you executed it even while afraid. That is what breaks the doubt. It's not clarity, it's movement. Choose one thing, just one, that you have been postponing. Write it down now mentally with absolute precision and mark a 48-hour window in your calendar to execute it. Not a week, not a month. 48 hours. This is the energetic physiology that Aries needs so as not to waste the passage. The fourth sign is Leo. And here there is a beautiful paradox because Leo is the sign of brilliance, of the sun, of natural visibility. And what today's passage does is extinguish one of the brightest stars in the sky. How does this translate into the life of a Leo? It translates like this. There is a false light in your life that needs to be shrouded so that the real light can appear. There is a version of you that was shining for approval, for fear of disappointing, for the need to be seen in a specific way. And that version is costing you your authenticity. Leo, you have been shrinking yourself. Yes, you. Even with all your natural charisma, even with all your capacity to occupy space, there is an area of your life where you have been apologizing for existing at the size you exist. You have been keeping quiet in meetings. You have been accepting crumbs in relationships. You have been refraining from showing a work, a project, a talent, for fear of what others will think, what others will say, what others will do. You are trying not to disturb, and that for Leo is a slow way to die, The occultation of Antares is forcing you to see that your true light doesn't need permission, it needs space. And space only appears when you withdraw the performative version of yourself, the one that pleases, that softens, that adjusts, so that the sovereign version can occupy the throne that is already theirs. Leo's new era begins when you reclaim a specific space you've been diminishing. It could be professional, it could be emotional, it could be creative. You know which one it is. And it is today in the coming hours that you need to make the first move of reclamation. A message, a post, a proposal, a positioning. Any physical gesture that returns to the world the real size of who you are. Comment FOGO in capital letters if you are Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius and feel that this passage is burning something inside you right now. This comment is your energetic record that you recognize the call of the fire signs in this specific window. And here we reach the fifth and last sign, which is the most silent of all, and perhaps the one that will be most traversed in the coming weeks: Pisces. While the other four signs receive more external, visible messages linked to action, Pisces receives the deepest message. Because Pisces is the lunar sign par excellence, the sign of the deepest water, of the finest intuition, of the perception that sees before it understands. And when the moon approaches and swallows Antares, the moon is acting within the natural territory of Pisces. Pisces, something you have been ignoring inside yourself, is finally rising to the surface. An emotional truth you didn't want to name. A perception about someone close to you that you denied so as not to have to act. An awareness about a relationship, about a friendship, about a family dynamic, about a professional situation that you've been feeling for months in the bottom of your heart, but that your rational mind tried to reframe as your own exaggeration. It is not an exaggeration. Pisces, it never was an exaggeration. Your perception was correct from the start, and the moon's approach to Antares is bringing this truth to a place where you will no longer be able to pretend you don't know. It is uncomfortable. It is dense. It may come in the form of an intense dream, of crying for no apparent reason, of a conversation that was apparently trivial but left you churned up for 3 days. All of this is the mechanism working. And there is an image that helps understand what is happening with Pisces in this passage. Imagine a deep, dark, opaque lake. You look at the surface and see only the reflection of the sky. But for weeks, something at the bottom of this lake has been moving. A large fish, a large shadow. And today, with the moon touching Antares, that shadow rises. It comes to the surface, and when it emerges, you can no longer pretend it was just a reflection. You have to look face to face at what was underneath the whole time, and it is terrifying. But it is liberating. Because while the shadow was submerged, it controlled you from below. Now that it has risen, you control what to do with it. Your new era, Pisces, begins when you stop translating what you feel into a language that others accept. It begins when you trust your perception, even without Cartesian proof. It begins when you end a specific illusion that was consuming you in silence. It could be the illusion that that person will change. It could be the illusion that that work will recognize you. It could be the illusion that if you wait a little longer, the situation will resolve itself. It won't. And the portal is giving you permission to recognize this without guilt, without drama, without explaining yourself to anyone. And here, before we close this passage, I need to remind you of something. You heard the call of your sign. You identified what needs to die, what needs to be crossed, what needs to be done, what needs to be shown, what needs to be recognized. But identification without structure turns into frustration in 3 days. You will go back to your routine. The phone will ring, the demand will arrive, and the restlessness that today seems like revelation will turn into background noise until the next sky event wakes you up again, and you will have lost another entire cycle. This is what happens to 90% of people. It is the reason why portals exist, and the majority remains in exactly the same place year after year. That was why I prepared the Magia M28 Exercicios, the 28 Chaves do Despertar, to be your structure for the crossing. It is 28 days, a complete lunar cycle, with one practical key per day. You recognize the soul's signal, integrate the shadow that comes to light, and transform every movement into a real decision in your physical life. It is not for accumulating spiritual knowledge. It is so you don't miss the exact window that opened today. The link is in the first pinned comment with the special price for this passage. Don't leave it for tomorrow. Tomorrow the moon will have moved on, Antares will have reappeared, and the force of occultation acting now will have dissipated. The decision needs to be made inside the window, not after it. Because the truth about this passage, the truth that no one wants to tell you with this clarity, is that a new era is not a gift from the universe. A new era is a decision you take within a specific window of time in which the energetic architecture of the sky is favorable for that decision to generate amplified consequences. Outside the window, the same decision generates normal consequences. Inside the window, it generates amplified consequences. That is what changes. It is not the universe working for you, it is the universe opening a tailwind. You still need to row. But rowing with the wind is different from rowing against it. Scorpio releases an old identity. Sagittarius crosses a concrete border. Aries executes a specific action within 48 hours. Leo reclaims a space they were diminishing. Pisces ends an illusion and trusts their own perception. This is the choreography of the new era for the 5 signs that Antares touched today, and each of these movements, if made with awareness within this window, will reverberate in the coming months in a way that you will look back some time from now and recognize this day as the landmark where something turned. Do not mistake this transmission for entertainment. Do not mistake it for a casual horoscope. You reach this point because a part of you already knew, and if you are not subscribed to the channel, you will receive only loose fragments of this larger map. Every video here is a coordinate within the energetic year we are traversing. Missing the sequence is missing the context. Subscribe, activate the bell, and come back tomorrow, because the next video is a direct continuation of this one. And what you heard today was just the preparation. The full revelation of what this occultation of Antares means for your new life, the step-by-step of what comes after this window, and how to use the next 2 weeks to consolidate all of this, is in the video appearing now here on the screen. Click on it. The first 60 seconds will reorganize your timeline. See you there.